Hey guys. Overview video. Distance learning coming right at you. The introduction. Let's do this. To start explaining the things that you want to know, you want to hear, because you want to finish this course, you want to learn what you need to know, and most importantly, I think you want to get back to being with one another and spending time with one another, learning things from each other, and just being in each other's lives makes your experience here on Earth a lot better. So that's going to be a big focus over the next few weeks, and I hope to take you through a lot of this information to show how I hope to make all those things possible for you. Now that we're back to distance learning, now through the end of the school year. Okay, so what you're looking at here in my welcome back slide is that I have the original chapters that I was on back before school closed for Algebra 1 and Geometry. And the reason why I decided to put this on the introduction slide is because as far as the academics go, as far as what you're doing, I want things to change as little as possible for you. One thing nice that you're going to hear is, as of now, there aren't really any tests, major tests that I'm going to have. The goal is just to work on problems, keep improving your skills, and get through and to have a nice cohesive experience in your Algebra 1 class or in your Geometry class. So I'm just showing you that I'm doing that for both Algebra 1 and I'm doing that for Geometry. I'm trying to make your lessons feel relatively similar in both topics. So in Geometry, I would have a lecture each day and have lecture slides that you would open before the beginning of class. You're going to still do that in Geometry. You have a lecture slides and I'm still going to give you a lecture. We have a video lecture for each day followed by homework. And we're going to use these Zoom sessions that we have on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to review that homework. In algebra, it will appear relatively similar. Usually you're doing group tasks together. You're still going to have the group tasks, but unfortunately it's hard to coordinate with your groups every single day. So you're only really going to do those group tasks once a week with your group, and you're going to turn that assignment in. You will have 3 assignments for the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for those 3 assignments. But probably a few of those you'll have to do independently. But there are still instructional videos. In fact, there are videos for each and every lesson. I kind of do the whole thing on YouTube so that you can go to YouTube and pick and choose. What is it do you want to hear me explain? Do you want to go through the whole thing? It's there because usually I review a lot of the questions in class. I wanted to have that on YouTube. All right, so first things first, your lesson for tomorrow on Tuesday. So you just got to get this done by Tuesday at 5 p.m. is I want you to fill out this Google form. I'm going to click on it right now. This is the study group survey. So even though we're not in class, right, we're not located in the same place, you guys can still do work with one another. You can ask each other questions, you can get each other through problems, and it shows that you are more persistent when you're working with more people. So what I want you to do is to select up to 4 people that you want to be in a group with. I'm going to set up groups between 2 and 5 people, and I have the list of everybody here in class. So what I recommend today is to check in with people, ask people, hey, do you want to work together? Or, hey, I'm going to put you down. Is that okay? Things like that. If you don't care who's in your group, you can just hit this check mark. I'll put you probably with other people who don't care, or I'll put you in other groups that seem cool with having more people. Right? If you want to say anything else in your study group request, being like, it's okay if you put people who don't want to work with anybody in our group, that would be very, very helpful for me. Okay, it's also too, like, this is a study group between 2 and 5 people, so if you only want 2 people in your group, say that you have like a best friend in class that I might not be aware of, you can maybe buddy up with them and just let me know the 2 of us are going to be working together. I'm just going to work with Max or something, and it's just the 2 of us. So I'll set that up. Hey, one thing that we have down here too that you have to tell me about is what role you'd like to be in your study group. So not the first week, okay? The first couple weeks we're working on finishing chapter 9 area, but after that in chapter 10, so we are actually going to go straight to volume chapter 10 next. I've decided that we're going to move to much more of a group work model. So think about the group work we did during the constructions unit and we did during the trigonometry unit, in that every day we had kind of a worksheet assignment and exploration, investigation. You're going to be doing those for geometry. And my requirement when that starts, which is about a week and a half, 2 weeks away, you have to do one of those daily lessons, right? Lessons worksheets. You have to do at least one with your study groups. Okay, so we have roles of things to do to make sure you guys are asking the right questions, know the right resources, and working most productively with one another. Because I don't want to lose, right, the great things that come out of being together in a work setting in terms of collaboration and making the most out of situations, okay? The thing that I think is most important here that is different than what was in class is the resource manager. So you're still going to read the assignment introduction and each question out loud or picking somebody to read those questions, but you're also going to manage the lesson video, okay? So each lesson, I'll get to this in a second, when I show them to you on Google Classroom, but each lesson will have videos from me going through the assignment so that if your group gets stuck on a particular question, you can pull up the video, find that question, maybe look at my explanation, and then explain it to your groups or tell your groups, hey, let's all just pause for a second, watch like between minutes 9 and 11 of this video, and Mr. Fortin kind of explains it, and then we'll check for your own understanding afterwards, okay? So resource manager, really important role, but really they're all important. So just tell me if you have a particular preference out of these 4. Okay, cool. So that's due by 5 p.m. Tomorrow, and then I'll do my best to let you know what group you're working in so that starting with Wednesday's lesson, you might be able to do that together with your groups. Okay, here are your distance learning requirements. This is the stuff that you probably want to know. What do I need to do? When do I turn it in? And all this stuff can be found on Google Classroom, which I'll show you immediately afterwards. That's the next slide. So distance learning requirements, 3 lessons each week are on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Coincidentally, those are the same days we're meeting over Zoom, okay? But the lessons you do on your own. So you find those in Google Classroom, and the lecture slides will be there, as well as the video for that lecture on that given day, okay? So we'll have the lecture slides open, maybe pre-read it, then watch the video lecture and take notes on it like you usually do. So again, this should feel just like you're in class, except it's hard to ask questions. Maybe you're commenting on Google Classroom to ask questions. Tuesdays and Thursdays are enrichment lessons, so I'll get to this in a second. So 3 lessons. I think last week when I got together with most of you guys in class, I said we were going to have 5 lessons per week, just to kind of make sure we got through a bunch of stuff. We don't need to get through that much stuff. We're going to get through pretty much all of chapters 9, 10, and 11, and I'm happy with that. So there's no reason for us to cram that much stuff in. We're just doing the 3 lessons, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Tuesday, Thursday, I'm still leaving those days open for you guys to do some original stuff, but those days will be enrichment lessons, okay? So there might be a Desmos lesson or a GeoGebra lesson or a Nearpod lesson. Or I might give you like a little quiz that day. So I might give you like an 8-question Google Forms quiz that you fill out to check for our understanding, okay? In fact, tomorrow, right? So I might just leave these open for really, really simple stuff because tomorrow on Tuesday, your enrichment lesson is actually just going to be filling out that Google survey, telling me who you want to work with, okay? So tomorrow, all you got to do is check in, figure out what your group is, let me know. Number 3 homeworks each week, okay? So with the 3 lessons, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there is bookwork, the normal homework that I normally assign. And just like normal, when we review homework in class, we're going to review those homeworks on the whole class Zoom sessions. You must do one of the homeworks along with your study group, okay? So starting Wednesday, you can start doing homeworks with your study group, okay? So this is one requirement is once a week, you get together with your study group outside of class time and you do a homework. Eventually, when we get into the volume unit, you're going to be doing one classwork with your study group instead of homework, okay? But for now, you need to do at least one homework with your study group this week. So you're going to figure that out and schedule that on your own and get together over Zoom or Google Hangouts or some other way of meeting remotely. Finally, work collection. Your 3 homeworks must be turned in on Google Classroom by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Okay, I will show what that looks like in a second. Here are the meeting times, Zoom here, and Zoom here. So we will take advantage of all 3 of these meeting times. I'll have a Zoom available because you guys don't have lunch block 4, or I'll keep it open if you want to stay and ask questions, but 20 minutes on Friday and then up to 45 minutes on Monday and Wednesday. And I'm just using that time to answer questions and go over homework, not to introduce new stuff, because as we see here, it can be hard to connect to everything and learn new stuff remotely. I'm not going to be going to your house to make sure you understand all this stuff. I'm merely just making things available via videos and homework assignments, and I'm hoping you learn it. So what this time is, the Zoom time, is for you guys just to ask questions and go over homework so that you come in with something. And it's not for me to make sure you understand it. It's to help you get the answers you might be looking for. And that's a great way to working towards understanding. Finally, here's Google Classroom overview. Where can I find the schedule? Right? Where can I find the classwork assignments? That's pretty important. So I have the whole schedule broken down. I have all classwork assignments. I have all video lessons, or just the first couple weeks of video lessons and the first couple weeks of homework on Google Classroom. So every day you're going to go to the classwork tab. You go to the classwork tab. The very, very top is distance learning. These are the distance learning lessons and homework. And the first few weeks have all been uploaded here. So we have our schedule. You can click on this and click to get to the Google sheet right here and click on it. It's going to bring you to the schedule. So you see here that we have the homework listed out. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those are our new lessons. So we have 3 big lessons a week, and there are videos for each of these on Google Classroom and YouTube. So we're going to be doing just section 9.5 and 9.6 this week. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those are the big lessons. And homework goes along with that. Here's your homework here. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 4.13, 4.15, 4.17 in week 1. So week 1's listed here. We're still in chapter 9, areas of plane figures. So you'll notice here Tuesdays and Thursdays it says enrichment task. Okay, so it could be one of these various things. You still have to do these. So I'm still requiring them. But they may be as simple, again, as just filling out a Google form or doing something a little more interactive, like an Ed puzzle or a Kahoot or something like that. So stay tuned for that. Okay, a little bit more on Google Classroom. We have the schedule there. There's lecture slides. Okay, so all the lecture slides that I've made so far are here, so you can open these up and review them when you watch the video lectures. So today, Monday, what I would do this afternoon when you get into your work, if you haven't done this already, open it up. The lecture's right here. You can click on it to open YouTube. You can also just open it right there. There's a video lecture. You can go ahead and watch it, and it's amazing. Oh, there he is right there, taking you through it. Make sure your volume's on. So hopefully you watch this lesson. Awesome. Good stuff. Okay. And it's listed out. I list the time that I talk about everything, so you can kind of pick and choose what you want to watch. Ideally, you're watching the whole thing, because I try to connect everything together, and it'd be ideal to not miss everything. Okay. The lecture slides are posted there too. Homework's listed here. I think it's all there. Try to think: is there something missing? Do you need to ask me about it, or is this good enough? Do you want to understand? Okay, so that's Google Classroom. Here's where you can. Notice here I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then after Friday we have week 1 homework turn-in. So take a look at this here, and what you need to do by taking pictures and uploading, you must turn in the 3 completed items. Okay, so you got to turn in your homework every single week, and you do that through this assignment this year. You don't do it through the other assignments here. I'm not going to look at these 3 individual assignments. I'm just looking at the week 1 homework turn-in. Okay, so one thing that I try to make very clearly here is that if I can't tell what homework it is you did, I'm going to make you redo it. Or if you're not showing your work, I'm going to make you redo it. Okay, so one way to avoid that is to keep it so that each homework assignment you're doing on a new side, a new sheet, a new side of paper, so that when you turn it in, it's very clear what assignment you did. You have it labeled, and then you've done enough work, you've shown work, or else I'm kicking it back to you, asking you to do it again. Okay, last thing is here. I thought about starting this video like this just to acknowledge just kind of how crazy of a situation we're in right now and kind of how heavy it is. I'm trying to do my best to kind of lift your spirits. That's kind of why I decided to start with, hey, what do you need to know? What do you need to do to be successful in geometry? But I thought about starting this way, which might have been just like a little bit too heavy of a way to start this meeting. So I have written here, let's pause to acknowledge the time we're living in. It's crazy right now. None of us think that doing this distance learning is the best thing for you, is the best thing for us, but the reality is we have no choice. This is a pandemic that hasn't really existed the entire time I've been alive, or arguably the entire time my parents have been alive too. So we are undoubtedly doing the right thing by trying to take ourselves kind of out of society, taking a step back just for a month or two, hopefully. We're hopefully saving a whole bunch of lives and a lot of pain and suffering by doing that. So I know it's tough. but keep it up because it does make a difference, okay? And we want to push our numbers down. So I've been sharing some data all along with you guys, and I've tried to make that be like the data that I share with you the first day and showing you updates every few weeks just so you guys can get a sense of how things are changing, okay? Because again, we're going into more math stuff, and math stuff's great at all, but don't lose sight of the fact that this math stuff really matters, right? It matters a ton to the situation we find ourselves in right now, which is one of the most important situations to approach mankind in our entire lifetimes. And this fundamentally is somewhat of a math problem. How do we keep numbers down? How do we keep society functioning by not overwhelming our healthcare system? So here's one link actually that I saw shortly after I emailed you guys yesterday about the coronavirus data update. And I wish I'd actually included this link because I thought this video was pretty telling of showing you how things have really changed from back on January 22nd when we were just kind of a few weeks into second semester up until March 11th where we came back from our first COVID-19 break all the way up to now, how things have changed and how math, because we started noticing this exponential trend, how math could have helped us predict this situation we've gotten ourselves in and how we can kind of flatten this curve. So this is such a big moment. I always want you to take a step back and just think about what we find ourselves encountering here. And, you know, I know it's tough. I know that mathematically, probably one of someone's family members, and out of all my students, probably someone's family member is probably sick right now. About 1 in 1,000 or so people in San Francisco have been tested positive for COVID-19. So about 800 or so positive cases in a city of about 800,000. So I know this is tough. You might have a family member who's sick. So please just be like, I'm not trying to make you feel worse about this, or it's just keep on reminding you of it all the time. But I think it is going to be something that you're going to be thinking about. It's going to be coming up in your lives for years and years and years about people thinking about this time period and how we can improve society. I think a lot of you guys probably will go into medicine, go into public health because of this. I feel like those will probably be attractive job fields for you. So that's the reason why I show you a lot of this data. So here is this video that I saw yesterday I thought was pretty interesting because it shows how things have changed across the world and just the rate of growth that's happened outside of China really since January 22nd. From the BBC, so it's a pretty good, and John Hopkins, so it's kind of interesting data. Okay, so China, right? This is why we were talking about China all the time. Oop, we made a cruise trip there, the Diamond Princess. And then we started talking about South Korea. Might pause this in a second. So this was March 6th. This was when we first closed down. I believe March 5th was the first day that we closed down Lowell High School. At that point, U.S. only had about 300 cases of coronavirus. That's why we're just like, okay, we have these days off. This isn't much of a threat. Well, it was growing exponentially already, as the data showed when I showed it to you on March 11th. March 11th, U.S. had 1,600 cases. So I remember coming in and being like, let's look at this data. It's kind of strange that we're back here now. And then we were back in school for about 2 days. And this is what's happened since, just to put it in perspective of kind of the news you've been following and seeing it. Look at U.S. go. And we are now, as of April 11th, over 500,000 people sick with COVID-19. Okay, the great thing for you guys is that it's really only 0.1, 0.2% mortality, so you don't really have to worry about it too much personally. But of course, we don't want to spread this to other more vulnerable populations. Okay, so that's the last thing there that I just wanted to say. Regardless of what's going on in the world, I'm just super glad to be back here with you and hopefully meeting with you more in person going forward, and hopefully allowing you to reconnect with your peers and your community as well. So email me anytime. If I'm missing any cool kind of COVID-19 data, I really just want you to keep an eye on this, being like, how is data telling this amazing story, amazingly powerful, amazingly terrifying, interesting story? Please email it to me. Here's my email address, and if there's anything better I can share with you, I'm willing to send that out on future updates for data stuff. Okay, let's get back to it, and you guys are going to jump into reviewing.
Page 398, written exercises 6 through 18 evens, 19 through 23 all.